If you had to describe all 50 states, right, in one sentence, how would you do it? How would you do it? I think you would need to like have spent a good amount of time in all states, right? For you to get a good understanding as to like what the people are like, what goes on down there, what kind of things to expect. I think a state like Florida or Texas would be quite easy to think of a slogan for, but somewhere like Alaska or Montana, that would be quite tricky, wouldn't it?
Every state has its slogan. Every state in America also thinks it's the main character. You've seen it, flags on trucks, the shirt that says don't mess with something, the bumper sticker that acts like crossing the state line requires a passport and emotional preparation. Every governor swears they're the number one in business, freedom, happiness, barbecue, sunsets, vibes, whatever metric they just invented on Tuesday. They're number one at it. But here's the thing nobody puts on the slogan sign. Every state has issues. Real ones, expensive ones, the kind that show up on your property tax bill, your rent increase, your insurance premiums, or your kids' school rankings. Today we're doing something the tourism board of each state will hate. We're giving each state a brutally honest tourism slogan. Not the fluffy come visit our beaches nonsense. Not the stock photo sunset with soft piano music. We're talking about the slogan they would use if they were telling the truth. So grab a map and let's take a coast-to-coast tour of America's most brutally honest tourist slogans. Let's take a look. Alabama, where the past is never really the past. The state still wrestles with civil rights legacy issues, education rankings, and economic gaps that trace back generations. Progress exists, but history lingers loudly in this state.
Really?
Alaska, gorgeous, isolated, and one missed paycheck from panic. Stunning landscapes, yes, but extreme cost of living in remote areas, limited access to healthcare, and dependence on volatile oil revenue make life financially fragile for many.
Oh yeah, in Alaska, don't they get like a payment from the government because of the oil, the revenues?
Arizona, air conditioning is not a luxury, it's survival. Brutal heat waves are getting worse, and Arizona's taking them head on. Energy spikes every summer, and water supply concerns tied to the Colorado River loom over long-term growth. Arkansas, low-cost living, lower expectations. Cheap housing, persistent poverty, underfunded schools, low wages, what's not to love? Outside of a couple corporate hubs, Arkansas sucks bad. California, beautiful state, financial hostage situation. This is almost the poster child of someone that needs a new slogan. California still offers a very unique lifestyle that most Americans can't afford anymore. High taxes, sky-high housing, insurance issues, and utility costs make it one of the most expensive places to exist in the country.
Really? But there must be cheaper areas in California, like somewhere like Fresno, or like, maybe not cheap, but like more affordable compared to somewhere like LA?
Colorado, legal herbs can't fix rent. Colorado is an outdoor paradise with explosive growth. Housing costs surge so fast that wages struggle to keep up, especially outside a few tech areas. Connecticut, if you're not rich, you're commuting to someone who is. Connecticut is weird because it's got some extreme wealth towards the southwest part of the state because it's close to New York City and all the finance people live there and they have some extremely wealthy towns. Meanwhile, Bridgeport and Hartford struggle with poverty and all kinds of problems. Delaware, corporate headquarters, human afterthought. Business-friendly laws attract corporations here. But for residents, it's a small state with limited job diversity and rising costs.
But hang on a minute. If you've got all these companies putting their HQs in Delaware, wouldn't that bring jobs too?
Florida, retirement home with crime and insurance problems. Yeah, they've got some crime here and there in Florida that's getting worse all the time.
Really?
And then, of course, they've got a statewide problem with insurance rates, and they can't seem to get a grip on it. Georgia, Atlanta, and then a lot of opinions. Georgia's a very rural southern state with a lot of problems, and Atlanta is the exact opposite with a lot of problems. Hawaii, paradise you'll never be able to afford. That's the truth. Everything.
Wow, look how long this beach is. This beach looks like it's like 2 miles long. Wow.
Everything is expensive in Hawaii, from food to property, just life in general. Most of the locals have been priced out of their own state.
Really?
Unless you've got property that's been in your family for generations, chances of you buying a house are slim at best.
Wow.
Idaho, growing fast, infrastructure, not so much. Yeah, Idaho's got a problem right now that a lot of states have when they get popular. They get so popular so fast, things that they need to build for the population increase, those take a little bit longer. Hospitals, new schools, roads. They're trying, they're doing the right things. It just takes longer than the growth takes.
Ah.
Illinois, Chicago pays all the bills. The rest of the state complains about Chicago.
To be fair, yeah, you don't really hear much about the other cities in Illinois. Like, what are the other big cities in Illinois?
Yeah, if you don't know, Chicago's where all the money is being made in Illinois. Sure, they got some farming and they've got a few other things, but most of the money is being made in Chicago. But all anyone ever wants to do is complain about Chicago.
I'm guessing that Chicago right here. That must be it, right?
Indiana, where paychecks have anemia and boredom comes in volume. Low wages, slow economic growth, and limited appeal to anyone with a future. That's Indiana for you. The only time they ever have a burst in population, it's because they had a slower death rate than birth rate in the state.
Oh my
Indiana's
God.
where people move back to once all their hopes and dreams were dashed in New York or California.
Brutal.
Iowa. If you like corn and silence, welcome home. Yeah, Iowa's, they're kind of an interesting state because it is very, very rural. I mean, agriculture rules this state, but it's also appealing for people that want to slow things down, maybe retire, maybe start a family there. It's definitely not there for excitement. Unless sitting on a bar stool at a dive bar 7 nights a week is your idea of entertainment. Kansas. Windier than a burrito and bean dip diet. Kansas is an agricultural-driven economy. It's got population stagnation and limited urban growth.
Kansas is in Tornado Alley, isn't it? I think it is in one of those states that makes up Tornado Alley, I think.
Which keeps things steady, but not what most people are looking for. Kentucky, we put the K in collapse and backwards. Kentucky has a few nice cities, but for the most part, this is a very rural state. And when you get rural in the mountains, you get a lot of people that are a lot of strange. Louisiana, amazing culture, terrible follow-through. Louisiana these days seems to be competing for the worst state in the U.S. competition.
God.
They've got 4 of the most dangerous cities in the United States,
Really?
while at the same time having some of the most historical cities in the United States. The state is struggling with money, poverty, crime, infrastructure, schools, and everyone walks around with their fingers crossed hoping a hurricane doesn't choose this year to show up.
Oh my God. Was Katrina in New Orleans? I think it might have been. I'm surprised. I really want to visit Louisiana, New Orleans, do the Mardi Gras, all of that stuff. But I do hear it can be quite dangerous. I probably need someone local to show me around so I don't go to the wrong spots.
Maine. 6 weeks of summer, plan accordingly. That's a good slogan right there. Because if you don't know, Maine gets hit pretty hard when it comes to winter. And winter in Maine seems to last forever. Maryland. Baltimore isn't the whole state. So Baltimore kind of drags Maryland down. Maryland's got a few places that aren't great, but Baltimore looms over the entire state, making it look bad.
Yeah, I remember The Wire, that show. I think it's based in Baltimore. Yeah. Is it really like that, though? Or is that like an exaggeration?
Massachusetts. Smart people, zero patience. Yeah, you've met people from Boston or Massachusetts. They've got no time for anything. And sometimes, if you're not from there, when they talk, they sound dumb, but this is one of the smartest states we have.
Wow.
They pump out more geniuses in a year than Arkansas has in its entire existence. Michigan, winter and economic PTSD. It's winter, it's Michigan, you don't want to be there. At least that's how most people feel. Now, when it comes to the economic thing, it's well documented and well known that Michigan took a serious hit over the last 40 years or so. Things are starting to look better, but they are cautious.
Yeah, because Detroit is in Michigan and they lost all of those manufacturing jobs, didn't they, when the car manufacturers shut down shop over there? Have things started to pick up, though?
Minnesota, nice to your face, frostbite to your back, and in the news for all the wrong reasons. Another northern state that has brutal winters, but some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Now, since I don't hear what they say behind my back, I've just always thought they were nice. But more people than not have told me, well, as soon as you leave, they do a lot of gossiping about you. I think that's everywhere, but Minnesota sometimes has a reputation for that. And of course, we all know they've been in the news a lot lately for all the wrong reasons. Mississippi, still trying to catch up since 1865. Mississippi never fully recovered since they took away all their free labor. Most people don't realize because you're used to the Mississippi of today. Back in the 1800s, this was one of our most wealthy states. Missouri, too southern for the north, too northern for the south. Yeah, Missouri's in this weird thing where they're kind of right there in the middle. And I think that's a good slogan. That one's not being mean, that's just what they are. They're kind of like the middle stepchild of the United States. Like Kentucky and a lot of other places in this part of the nation, they have some pretty backwards rural areas. At the same time, they got two of the biggest cities in the United States.
What are the two biggest cities in Missouri? I don't really hear much about Missouri. Like it's not one of the states that like in the UK, here in the UK, gets spoken about much. It's always like Texas, California, New York, Massachusetts because of MIT.
It's a weird state, but I do love Lake of the Ozarks. Montana, freedom until you need a hospital. So Montana doesn't have as many hospitals as they probably should because they don't have a big population. So if you've got a major problem or you've got a doctor's appointment with a specialist, you've got quite a road trip ahead of you in a lot of cases. Nebraska, you're not stuck here. You chose this. Nebraska is another state that doesn't have a lot of people moving in. It's just a lot of people don't move out. So they're choosing to stay there through all its boredom and everything else. Nevada, glitter in the
Wow, super flat. Where's Vegas? Is Vegas here?
front, bankruptcy in the back. Hey, if you guys want to see some ugly stuff, look at all the videos people are making about how dead Las Vegas is these days. It is not looking good for that city. Really? And I'm sure there's some random stat where they had a great weekend or something like that. But compared to how Vegas was 5-6 years ago, it's not the same. Wow. A lot of longtime residents are going through the casino, let's say on a Thursday night, and there's like 2 or 3 people playing blackjack, where even on a weeknight, they'd still have a couple hundred people in the casino.
To be honest, I'm not surprised because, you know, with things getting so expensive, like the average Joe hasn't probably got money to go and gamble anymore. Surprising. So Vegas is dying. Is that legit?
New Hampshire, no sales tax, just seasonal depression. Yeah, like Maine and all the other New England states, winters get pretty brutal here. So you got a lot of gray for a good portion of the year, and then you got a lot of snow for a good portion of the year. Get a couple weeks of summer, and then prepare for winter and fall. New Jersey, property taxes that punch first. New Jersey is one of the most taxed states in the nation, and they never bring that up on their tourism brochures. New Mexico, stunning scenery, struggling economy. New Mexico has a lot of really bad stats. I mean, across the board. It's not just 1 or 2. It's not like it's just crime. They got horrible poverty. Their infrastructure is falling apart. Their schools are falling apart. Their overall livability is through the floor most years. But they have amazing sunsets. New York.
It seems like a lot of these states might be struggling financially. I guess, you know, the cost of living and all that stuff, it must be making it difficult for a lot of people, right? People aren't spending money.
New York, pay more, get less, brag away. A lot of New Yorkers, whether they're in the city or upstate or wherever, will tell you how amazing that state is and then follow it up with 2 hours of all the horrible things about it and how it's so expensive and everything else. But they would never dream of moving someplace else. That's how a lot of Californians are too. North Carolina, affordable yesterday. Yeah, North Carolina's gotten popular and the prices are starting to edge up. They're still affordable compared to some of the other popular states. Give them a few years and, you know, the affordability thing is a distant memory. North Dakota, oil money, social life pending. Energy booms bring income spikes, but small population and harsh winters limit growth in their economy.
Yeah,
now, North
really
Dakota,
cold.
when they have an energy boom, let's say they need more fracking or whatever, it's a great place to live. Ohio.
Yeah, I've heard North Dakota, like, gets really cold in the winters, though. Like, really cold, like minus 50 cold. Or is that, like, not quite true?
Oh, the place you're from. Everyone seems to come from Ohio, but you never hear of anyone moving to Ohio. Oklahoma, tornado insurance is a personality trait here. Tornadoes are real. Sure, they don't happen every single month, and you might go years, maybe decades without even seeing one in Oklahoma, but they do happen. People always want to bring that up whenever I talk about tornadoes. They hardly ever happen. No, they happen about 50 times a month during certain seasons in the state. Sort of like when people from Oklahoma talk about the horrible earthquakes in California. They're rarely that bad, and we have hundreds a day. Oregon, beautiful.
Hundreds a day? A day? No way. Is there places in America that get tornadoes? Hundreds of tornadoes a day?
Beautiful outside, complicated inside. Oregon is one of the most beautiful states we have. And I'm not just saying that because I live here. It's good to look at, it's good to walk around in, it's not too great to live in these days. This state would be perfect if humans weren't involved. Pennsylvania, 2 cities, a lot of shrugging, and a lot of F words. I love Pennsylvania. I think it's right up there with the beauty of Oregon. I got the same feeling. I mean, it's very green. Water everywhere, just like in Oregon. Well, Oregon's a little different on the east side, but Pennsylvania, there's water coming out of the ground. There's rivers, there's creeks, there's ponds, there's lakes, everything. Rhode Island, tiny state, giant ego.
Really?
Yeah, the people of Rhode Island got a little bit of an ego, don't they? Strange little state.
Why? Where does the ego come from? Because, I mean, for such a small state, you would expect them to be pretty humble and quiet.
South Carolina, smiling hospitality, stagnant paychecks, and a lot of dudes named Bubba. South Carolina is a very strange state. You'd never know they were backwards if you were just sticking with Charleston, Greenville, and a few other places, but they got some small towns that are, oh yeah. You know, they got more 1970s pickup trucks than they do teeth in the entire town. South Dakota, we have a monument. Please clap. Just talked about this recently. Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, is a complete waste of time.
Really?
It's cool for like 5 minutes. After that, they got nothing. They need to have something like, I don't know, maybe one of those things where you get an AI camera to superimpose your face on the monuments next to the president. You get a picture, you take it home. That might be cool. Something like that. Tennessee.
I still want to see Mount Rushmore. I want to see Mount Rushmore. It's like one of those things that a lot of non-Americans grow up seeing and thinking it's really cool. I just hope it's as big as I imagine it is.
See, music's great. Paychecks, not so much. Yeah, Tennessee's one of the most underpaid states we have. And that could spell disaster later because they've got a lot of things going up in price there. Texas, freedom with an HOA. If you watch this channel long enough, you know I got a serious problem with HOAs. I think they're the worst thing going on in the country right now. And they're never going away because
HOA, Homeowners Association, I think.
cities use them as a way to save money. Messed up sidewalk, city doesn't have to take care of it in HOA. The HOA takes care of it. So you all have to pitch in to fix the sidewalk. Comes out of your dues. Where in a normal neighborhood, like let's say mine, sidewalk breaks from my house, I call the city. Sure, it might take them 2 months to get here, but they'll fix it. HOA might have it done in 2 weeks, but you're paying for it on top of all your taxes. And Texas loves HOAs.
Very similar to how it works here with service charges. Like here, if you own an apartment, every month you have to pay a service charge between, like, let's say $300 a month. And if anything goes wrong, that comes out of that money, or you might have to pay on top of the service charge. It's crazy.
Utah, scenic and slightly judgmental. Utah's a strange state with all the history of the Mormon stuff. I will tell you one thing. One time I mentioned in a video that I didn't know much about Mormonism, and I do make jokes about it and whatever. I had probably 20 people nicely email me and say, if you'd ever like to discuss it, I am more than willing to talk to you about it.
Wow.
Vermont, organic
Trying to recruit him.
everything, jobs, optional. But we got great maple syrup. Vermont's another one of those states that I have on my bucket list of living in, which I'll never achieve now. I visited several times and I really liked it. Beautiful state. Virginia, history is cheaper than the housing. Yeah, Virginia is rich in history and government jobs, but housing costs, especially in Northern Virginia, are intense. The closer you get to Washington, D.C., the more your paycheck starts to feel like a suggested donation to your landlord. With bidding wars and six-figure incomes, somehow still feels middle class.
Bidding wars. You have to bid to get a place. What?
Washington, tech rich, everyone else treading water. That's very true for Washington. And I'm not just talking the Seattle metro area. Seattle's insane. People always talk about Los Angeles is crazy expensive, maybe even San Francisco or San Jose. Seattle is right up there with the best of them as far as crazy expensive goes.
Damn.
West Virginia, beautiful land, tough reality. Yeah, we all know about West Virginia. They've got a long history of really bad decision making and problems that have followed because of it. This is one of those states I'm always rooting for. Love West Virginia. I think it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. Wisconsin.
Yeah, there's so much of America that I need to explore. I've not seen a lot of America. I've only been to New York, California, Nevada, Baltimore, Maryland. I think that is it. So 4 out of the 50 states. Not a lot.
And drink through the winter. That's all they do, honestly. They drink through the winter. They drink through summer too, but it really gets kind of heavy in winter. We're talking about a state that at one point decided drunk in public is not a crime. Everywhere else thinks it is, not Wisconsin. Wyoming, vast, quiet, and economically thin.
Beautiful backdrop though. Look at these mountains.
Wyoming's turned into one of those places like Connecticut where you have a few really, really rich areas. I mean, mega rich. And then the rest of the state just kind of struggles. Also, beautiful if you get past the wind.
I'm pretty shocked about what Briggs had to say about Nevada, about Vegas, about how you can walk through a casino and see 2 people there. Like, because I've heard rumors about Vegas, dying. And I thought, there's just no way. Vegas has been this long-standing, tourist destination. Millions of people go to Vegas every year. They want to go to Vegas to see all the lights and stuff. So what's changed? Like, what is it that's happening now that has made people want to stop going to Vegas? Like, is it just, people don't have money to spend? Or is Vegas just like, have they done something in Vegas that's put people off? Really interesting. I want to know more about this. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and check out the video I'm going to link below here, and I'll see you there.